Okay, in this video I'm going to talk about the undo feature and also the history. So in Photoshop has a unique way of tracking. It's called the history. Basically, as you create things, you have a history. I'm going to go ahead and write a few things down, make a couple images, and watch this history bar as I'm doing that. So first of all, I'll put some text here. And then I'll go ahead and I'll duplicate that text. I'll create a circle. And as you can see, as I'm doing that, it is writing down the history of what I'm doing. I can also do another text. And as you can see, as I do this, it just keeps adding, obviously, layers because I'm creating new layers, but it's also creating a history so that I can go back to where maybe I wanted to change, or I can have it how I was working on it. Now, the difference between history and undo is when you have history, I can go back multiple steps. But with undo, if I hit Command Z, it just undid what I did. Now, if I hit Command Z again, which is undo again, it redid what I undid. So, for example, I go to undo move, which is Command Z, which is basically undo. So it undid that copy or the duplicate layer I just made. But now when I go to it, it says redo move. So it means it puts it back. So using the undo, you can only undo one time. That is why the history is so important, because I can go back multiple steps. And maybe I only wanted it to just that text tool. And now if I start over, it erases all of that other history and rewrites a new history. And if I undid and then redid, there you go. You can see how undo and the history are very similar but very different as far as how far back you can go. The history is a great way to track. Now remember, by default, you're only going to get about 20 items in here for the history. After that, it starts to delete. So as you're working, remember to check, and don't go too far ahead if you think you're going to be making changes, because you might not be able to go back far enough in the history. You can go into your settings and change it so that your history has a longer memory, but then that sucks more of the RAM that you have. So just remember, the default setting is pretty good, but remember as you're working on this to check it frequently to make sure, if you're like, well, I don't know, I'll test it, don't go too far ahead because you might not be able to get back and then you'll have to start over. So that is how you use your history and also the undo.